just came to play for the money. On 7 good ponies and some damn good swing. So get your team together, get fired up. So I can have a chop at you at the Inverell Swan Cup.
Hi everyone, welcome to the 11th Swan Cup video podcast. My name is Alex Wrobel from the Inverell Polocrosse Club, and we're going to endeavour to complete a podcast every week in the lead up to the 2021 Inverell Swan Cup. I'm the president of the Inverell Polocrosse Club, and we're going to use this podcast to provide you with information about the Swan Cup and meet the people behind the scenes who will help to make our event a success. The Swan Cup will run from the 8th to the 11th of July 2021, and our Open Men's Polocrosse and Sale nominations open on the 19th of April and close on the 10th of May 2021. I'm here with our club member and leader of our Swan Cup, Cameron Neville. How you going, Cameron?
I'm great, mate. How are you?
Yeah, going good, thanks. And our special guest this week is Beau from the New Zealand 2019 World Cup team. Thanks for joining us, Beau. How you going?
Good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, going really well, thanks. So, first of all, thanks for coming on board, Beau, and doing a podcast with us for the Swan Cup. To get us all started off this afternoon, I just want to start with one of the games from the World Cup, the New Zealand versus South Africa. And in my opinion, I probably wrote you off and thought you weren't in it. And I had my horses there, and I went off to work my horses while your game was on. So I apologise for that in advance, but I was partway through working my horses, and the crowd started going absolutely nuts. And I was on the old dusty trotting track out the back, and the crowd had gotten behind the underdogs in New Zealand. And not only that, you know, you're a Queenslander, you're home. It was sort of almost like a bit of home turf for you. And the rest of it we know is history. Can you just take us through the emotional roller coaster that was the World Cup and that incredible game? Can you give us a bit of insight into it?
Yeah, that game, it was probably the biggest and best game I've ever played. And like being at Warwick too, like you said, coming from Queensland and going back and then playing in front of all like the Aussies and everything like that. It was words can't describe how incredible it was. And just then the feeling, it was sort of, I don't know, it was pretty, it was a bit numb really. Like you sort of just got into I didn't hear any of the people on the sideline. I was just focused on playing polocrosse. So, but it was pretty cool after it, that's for sure.
Oh, definitely. Like it was just one of those highlights, you know, and it happens I think it sort of happens in, you know, all World Cup events, no matter what sport it is. You know, there's that one team that's a bit of an underdog that, you know, comes from nowhere and can take a game completely in control and just turn the tide on one of those favourites. And I think that match was one of those moments in the World Cup that I just was blown away by.
Yeah, no, it was pretty cool. And it sort of just, I don't know, it just all sort of come together. Like the girls, they played really well. And then like in that last chukker there, we just sort of got the roll of the ball and was lucky enough when it got real close there, we just got that last catch out the back of the lineup. And that was sort of, you know, it could have went either way. If Yanni had got it out the back, well, you know, South Africa probably would have won, but it was just one of those things and how it played out. Yeah,
definitely. And we're having a bit of a chat to you this week because here in Australia, I know that Kiwis have been able to come over to Australia for a little while now without quarantine and those sorts of things. But the Australian government announced that, you know, Aussies can go to New Zealand in a quarantine-free situation. And I know since, you know, the early ideas of running the Swan Cup here at Inverell, I know that Cameron had been talking to Ike Murray, and he'd been keen to get you involved as an international player in the competition. Does this mean that there'll be a high chance that you'll be in a team at the Swan Cup?
Yeah, it should. I was talking to Ike today and yesterday, and yeah, she's all go. So yeah, I'm looking forward to coming over and playing in that. So it'll be good.
All right.
And mate, will you come over for any other events?
I was thinking about if I can get time off work or work in to get time off work, and then I might come over like the weekend before if there's a carnival on, and see if that works, and play the weekend before, and then stay the week, and then do the Swan Cup would be my plan, I'd say.
Yeah. So well, Narrabri have the big junior carnival on, and also just a standard carnival run alongside of it. So definitely you'd be able to get a game in for sure. And ours starts midweek, so you get 2 games pretty back to back. Yeah, it would make sense. Yeah, get a feel.
No. And especially because we're out of season over here too, so our season's finished now. So and it gets quite wet from here on in. So a weekend before would be quite good to get back into it a bit.
I'd say you better start practicing, mate. We've been playing like a bit. You might need a bit of help.
He told me he was the best player on the team.
Yeah. Do you think there'd be any other Kiwis interested in playing in teams in the Swan Cup, Beau? Anyone else?
Yeah, no. I think there's another young fella, Tawa Holyoake. I think he's coming over. I think one of the other teams might have snuck him in a bit as a bit of an underrated player, but yeah, I think he's coming over, so that'll be quite good.
Yeah, fantastic.
And has there been any sort of following of it in New Zealand? Like, are people watching the podcast, or are they talking to you about it, or is it just the little circles that you talk to here in Australia that are that we're telling you about it? That's the only reason you know of it, or is it out there in New Zealand?
No, it's probably just because of the circle of people in Aussie. Like, there'd be a heap of Kiwi guys that would be keen to come, but they sort of just don't have the contacts, I suppose, or know the people, or to get in and run in the team. That'd be the biggest thing. There'd be a heap of people keen to come, but getting the team together to do it is probably their biggest thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and finding someone that's willing to give you a horse for the competition too would be one of those things that'd be difficult.
Yeah, exactly. And then, like, you guys over there have got the caliber of players and the depth of players, and then we're quite small over here, so you sort of don't really go needing us guys from over here to come over, really. Yeah,
I suppose the advantage would be that, like you said, with the is it Toa? Is that how you say his name?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, like it. You might just have the chance of bringing in someone that might be slightly underrated to what you think they probably would be capable of over here, and maybe finding that sort of that rough diamond that would help your team out would be where I'd be thinking that if someone's looking for someone to put in a side, they'd be the sort of people you'd be looking for.
Yeah, hands down. Like, if he gets mounted right, and he's definitely underrated. Like, he's one to watch, that's for sure.
How many points is he on?
Well, we don't have points over here, so that's how I think they'd be on the lowest rating over there, I'd say. So.
Oh, really?
Might be giving a bit away here.
Yeah. And I've got a fair guess where he's going too.
Nah, he's not that good.
Mate, is there any sort of single competitions in New Zealand like this, incentive based or money competitions over there?
We've had a high goal for the last 3 years, but then we were all shaped up to have one this year. Like, we got our one in last year before COVID, but then this year, obviously with COVID, we couldn't do it. But yeah, the last year we got Yanni Steenkamp. He came over. We had Damien Harris lined up, and then we had Jimmy and Matt and Abbott. And I think Jordan Street was in there as well. So no, we're trying to promote it and get outside players coming in.
Yeah. And your horses over there, like, are you able to mount that many jockeys if they turned up?
Yeah. So I took a truckload down, so I had about 8 or so, and then there's a few other guys. They sort of we found enough, scraped enough together for them. So it was good. Yeah.
And is the stock horse bloodline bigger in New Zealand?
I think there's a few guys starting to push it now. You know, like there's a heap of guys that have gone over and bought a heap of colts and brought back over. I think from the Grillses, and we brought a heap over with us when we came, but it's not hugely recognised, but it's starting to get a roll on. Yeah.
And the basis of your horses, mate, from over here, from in Australia, what bloodlines do you base your horses off?
Mainly all thoroughbreds. We start with thoroughbred mares, and then we put them to like just the general rage of the stock horses over there. Before we came over, we sent them down to the Grillses and embryoed a couple of mares, and then we bought 12 over with us when we came.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, right. And would you be talking to your family about maybe putting a horse in the sale, or will they bring horses that are fit for you over here, or the team's just going to sort you out? How do you work your horses?
I think the team's just going to sort me out with some horses, but the old man, he'd bring a couple of horses down if I needed them. But yeah, I don't think he's got any going to put anything through the sale. But yeah, he'd turn up with fit horses if I said I need a horse or something like that.
Yeah.
Do you think that these, offering the future incentives off the sale for those people who purchase the horses, do you think that's going to motivate buyers and increase the competitive nature of the sport?
Yeah, I reckon it's awesome. Like if I was still over there, I'd be into it. That's for sure. Like it just sort of opens a whole world of it up again. Like, and actually you can make sort of a living out of it. If you put some good horses through, and then they come back and play in the winning team, and like you get a bit more back from it. Like it's all promotion for the sport and your horse and what you're doing on them, isn't it?
That's right. Like you could.
Yeah. Well, I think you'll find that. Sorry, Alex.
Yeah, you could turn up and you could, you could buy that horse. You could play it, and if you manage to, get into the final, and then get in the final the following year or something, and then run it back through the sale, it's a pretty good reason for someone then to go and buy that horse too. Like it makes it quite valuable running back through the sale.
Yeah, and that makes them stand out. Like they've sort of got to perform, and if you're putting good horses through, they're going to perform. So you got more of a chance to win. And then obviously, if you put that horse back through the sale, well, his list of stuff that he's doing is getting bigger and bigger, isn't it? So that hopefully that horse is going to start getting worth more and more as he gets older and starts doing more stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, and I also think too that the individual blokes that are breeding a lot of horses over here, like there's certain sales over here that you can go to and sell your horses, but I'd like to think, that someone like Bernie Smith doesn't sell too many horses. He might just find this as an avenue to really value what he's got at home.
Yeah, well, they've sort of purpose bred for Polocrosse, and there's only really been, the Grillses, they've sort of put a purpose bred Polocrosse sale on, haven't they? Other than that, there's you got to send your horse to Landmark or something like that, then they're in the mix with everything else that's going on in the horse industry, and you're sort of struggling to get that exposure for them.
And also, I reckon there'll be a place, hopefully in the future, for the younger Polocrosse player, early 20s, just coming out under 21s or something, who could make a living out of, buying horses, putting them back through, selling horses, and training horses just for this event. It happens at Nutrien, so why couldn't it happen at our show? Who knows? Yeah,
exactly. And the Polocrosse is that it's big enough over there to do it. Like people are doing that now just by selling them privately, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So you told us that you're probably going to play with Ike. Have you got anyone else lined up in your side? Who else have you got lined up that could be in your side? You're willing to give anything away?
Should I give it away? No, I think there's Corey Byers, Ike, Isla Young, Mitch Anderson, Jordan Street, and myself, and I'm not sure who else we've got in there, but yeah, that's sort of what I rattled off the other day. So yeah.
No, very nice. Very nice.
These will be competitive.
Yeah, it should be good. I'm looking forward to it, especially with Ike there. Well, he reckons he's underrated, so he's going to turn it on.
Well, he's a leader of men. What about Albury's just about to kick off over here, and playing for money and picking your own sides? Will you watch that or have a look at what's going on there?
Yeah. No, if it's all live streamed on Facebook or whatever, I always keep an eye on it. You sort of, well, like I said, it's our off season over here now, so any bit of polocrosse you can get like that, you're always watching and keeping an eye on how things are going, how people are playing.
Yeah, well, like they've got a couple of big weekends. Like they got Albury this weekend, and then them top fellas, they roll around and go to Warwick next weekend for Barristock. And I suppose they give their top horses a bit of a spell and bring them back in June, July for Swan Cup, zones and club championships. So them top fellas are getting a lot of polocrosse here at the moment, and it's really pushing the sport along, and people are getting on the back of it.
Yeah, that's awesome, eh? That's what you want. It's becoming a bit more professional, I suppose, and like you put a bit of money involved in it, and a lot of people they go at it, don't they? Really, like they'll give them an incentive to keep their horses fit and fed and travel a bit.
I reckon, mate, most of these top fellas, like, it's good to go and win the money and pay up and have a crack, but I think they just actually want the title. Like, they just actually want to be the winning team, or they want to be a part of the winning side, and to know that they've played against top caliber polocrosse fellas. Like, you'd like to think that these events are as good as that any caliber anywhere.
Yep. Yeah, no, for sure. No, it's a good thing.
Yeah,
Definitely. So looking at your team again, Beau, I'm going to pick it to pieces a little bit. Obviously, you're watching you play a three. It's the strength of the side when you play a three. So that's where you'd be. Out of the fellas names you rattled off, who would you prefer to have up in front of you?
I think Isla, he's been playing a bit of one lately, from what I've been told. So yeah, he'd be pretty good to play with. Or with Mitch or someone like that, that'd be I wouldn't mind. They do a pretty good job. They'd make a three look good anyway.
Yeah, I thought that was the three's job to make them look good.
It'll be interesting how teams work their tactics. Like the games are 6 minute chuckers. That's just the round games. So it'll be interesting to see like how they go about it and who plays where, and the seventh player, if he's in more than they think, or they actually just don't give him a go at all. Who would know? But it'll be quite interesting.
Do they have to give? What's the rules there? Like, you've got to give that 7 man. He's got to play, or he doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to play as long as there's no stoppage in play, like a bandage comes off, or broken gear, or there's an injury to a horse, something like that. He goes straight. He goes straight on if you want to. Like, he goes on before you go and get another horse and double up or fix your gear and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and they've got to go on too. You can't just jump on his horse.
Yep. And how many horses per team?
Yeah, because only seven players, 7 horses nominate.
Yep.
And then like, I think most teams will bring spare horses just in case there is injuries or something goes on. They'll have a few, but like we really hope that we get through the weekend with no injuries, nothing goes wrong. Those horses that play the whole week, so people aren't swapping and getting any benefit by playing a fresh horse later on in the week. We want the same horses that come out round one to play in the final. That's what we hope happens.
Yep. No, that's cool. Cool. You playing international rules?
No, mate. She's Aussie rules, mate. It's how it should be.
Come on.
What about with the Albury competition? Like, there's two teams down there at the moment that have got quite big points. The Albury side and then the Corindi blokes, and then there's a bit of a drop off in points there. Do you think that our competition, makes it a bit more level and a bit more even for everyone?
Yeah, I think it's good because otherwise you are going to get like a 40-point team with 4 players in it before you even start, and that way I think, how many teams have come through now that you've like made the points quite even, like a 40, was it 45 or 47?
We're 56 points for 7 players, but 48 points for your top 6.
Yeah. So that should not even it out, but that'll make people put an even team in instead of just stacking it with 4 good players. You've actually got to probably have 6 or 7 even players that can go out and do a job.
Yeah, well, I think Albury's got 8 sides, and it'll be interesting to see whether we get more sides, because some of them top fellas can't fit in with each other. It'll be interesting to see if they and some of the Queenslanders probably haven't gone because they have to travel back to Barristock and different things. So it'll just be interesting to see how many sides we get. Like, our nominations open up on 19th of April.
Yep.
So we'll get a pretty good indication, of how many teams we're going to get, pretty soon.
Yeah. Have you got a cap, or are you just going to take as many as you can get?
Yeah, that's the big
unknown. Look, I don't think we'd like to knock anyone back.
Yeah.
But I think we'd love to take everyone. So at this stage, mate, there's no cap on number of teams coming.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so just a reminder before we go, our event will run from the 8th to the 11th of July 2021, and our open men's polocrosse and sale nominations open on the 19th of April and close on the 10th of May 2021. Beau Moore, thanks for joining us on the Swan Cup podcast.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Cameron.
Thanks for giving me your time, mate.
Much appreciated.
So I can have a chop at you at the Inverell Swan Cup.